I got everybody on the right, the left. You know, I don't mind you. Good evening. I'm calling this meeting to order. The time is precisely 5:30 p.m. in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. This meeting is officially open with a quorum present. Mr. Bond, would you please lead the pledges?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Tonight we have quite a few recognitions. We'll start with 3A, Career and Technical Education students who placed in national level competitions.
President Jackson, as we do annually, we'll take a few moments to recognize those students who spent part of their summer participating in the national career and technical education competitions around the country. I'm told that some of the students that we'll announce this evening are already at college, so if when I call a name no one stands up, guess where they are. All right, for the Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America, the National Leadership Conference took place in Atlanta, Georgia. The national winners were from Trimble Tech High School. In the contest of sports nutrition, Juliana Nava and Adrian Norlelas, second place for both. Are you here? And in the entrepreneur contest, Raven Barnaba, first place, Alexandra Gonzalez, first place, and Miriam Perez, first place. If they're here, please. And the teacher advisors at Trimble Tech are Natasha Bruton and Heather Karima. Are you here? Okay. Give them a round of applause. At the 2018 National Leadership Conference for Future Business Leaders of America in Baltimore, national winners were R.L. Pascal High School. The contest was cybersecurity. 10th grader Christopher Wood. Out here. Whose teacher advisor was Thomas Keisel, I'm sorry. And in sales presentation, Brandon Myers, third place. The teacher was Corey Griffin. From South Hills High School, and the contest was 3D animation team, Emilio Contreras, fourth place. Rosio Frias, fourth place. Luis Hernandez, fourth place. And teacher advisor Julie Fisher. Thank you. Skills USA 2018 National Leadership Skills Conference in Louisville, Kentucky. National winners, Southwest High School. The contest was Broadcast News Production Team. Gloria Ortiz, second place. Laura Nunez, second place. Chelsea Lyles, second place. Jacob Wells, second place. And teacher advisor Darcy Dupree McCready, who also spent the summer getting married. From Trimble Tech High School, contest collision damage appraisal. Guillermo Lezama, fourth place. And the teacher advisor was Rogelio Alfaro. The 2018 Educators Rising National Conference took place in Orlando, Florida. National winners from South Hills High School. The contest was Children's Pre-K Literature. Ashley Rios, second place. And Angeles Garcia, second place. The next contest was Impromptu Teaching. Alejandra Patino, eighth place, I believe. The next contest was Educators Rising Leadership. Abigail Arriola, top 8. Teacher advisor was Victoria Jensen. The Texas Association of Future Educators, South Hills had their first TAFE state officer. Melissa Areola was the state officer, Texas vice president. So let's acknowledge her. And again, the teacher is Victoria Jensen. And if you are a parent or family member of any of these students, would you please stand so that we might recognize you as well? And the executive director of CTE is David Sines. I know he's here somewhere. There he is. For 9 years, Glenn Nixon and the Tarrant County Housing Solutions have been extremely supportive of Fort Worth ISD students over the summer months. Each year, Mr. Nixon and his colleagues in Housing Solutions have hosted a music camp at Van Zandt Gwynn Elementary School. President Jackson has invited Mr. Nixon and his associates to this evening's meeting to honor them for their extraordinary music camp work, which impacts over 100 students each summer. The only contribution from the Fort Worth ISD has been the utilization of our building. President Jackson and Dr. Sims will come forward to award certificates of achievement, and then we will hear a comment from Mr. Nixon.
And you don't sit down either. We're going to take a big picture. Yes, small, big, 9 years.
Oh, yeah. One more time.
What are we doing for 10?
Take 200, right?
All right. All right, now get busy.
We're going to have a short video presentation, then I'm going to speak for a few moments, then our board president, Ms. Terry Attaway, is going to have words. want to thank President Toby Jackson and Dr. Sims for the opportunity to work with them and for them assisting us with a place to do our camp. I want to thank Dr. Scribner for this prestigious recognition and the board. What a great honor to be recognized for our free summer music camp. Thank you, Fort Worth Housing Solutions Board Chair Terry Attaway, for your leadership. I want to thank Mary Margaret Lemons, our president. If you will stand, Mary Margaret. Thank you so much for your support. And I call her my boss. My boss is here, Sonia Barnett. Stand, Sonia. Sonia's the one that signs off on the checks. And so we're grateful to her. And then our team is here. Music camp team, stand if you will. Yeah, listen, it's an honor and a privilege to serve with these people every year. They come and we work like clockwork. From the time we start camp to the time we end, they know what to do. We have Miss Nicole Woolrich. Before I introduce you, how many Fort Worth ISD employees do we have in our camp? Raise your hand if you work for Fort Worth ISD. Yeah. And so we have Nicole Woolrich, who's a Fort Worth ISD teacher, Mr. Keith Woolrich, who's a math teacher at Meadowbrook Middle School, Miss Rhonda McCarty, who's with the after-school program, Miss Laquita Clark, who's with Metro, okay. And then Miss Diane Thomas, this is our sign language person. So if you ever need anybody to sign, this is our sign language person. Then Miss Janae Hunter, this is our new dance instructor. And so they're the people that make our camp run. And I want to tell them thank you so much. Listen, before I sit down, I'm a proud graduate of Oscar Dean Wyatt High School. And some of you know the rich history we have in music at O.D. Wyatt. And so, this is the time that I give back to Fort Worth ISD, to the community. We are a community of practice. We work together for a common cause, and that's to impact children. And so, again, thank you, Fort Worth ISD. Thank you, community. Thank you, Fort Worth Housing, for allowing us to work with our children.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay, that's okay. I don't have a lot more to say, but I do want to say that what we do at Housing Solutions impacts families. So, in order to have children grow up to be good citizens, it's good for them to be well-rounded. I'm very proud of what we do in this camp every year. It's awesome. And then I have to let you know that I'm so passionate about it as a board chair, but it's also because some of you may know I have a son who was in Fort Worth ISD and graduated from Arlington Heights High School, and now he's the genie in Aladdin on Broadway. So I just want to say, because of that, just to say, he came and he participated with Housing Authority when he was here, and it's just so important to introduce children to the arts. Sometimes families just don't know what to do. We do other things, like at the end of the year, I get tickets sometimes to Casa Mañana. Last year, I had 200 children and their families all there. So I just want to say to everybody, if you think it's your job as parents to help children explore their gifts. That's what we like to do, and this is a small part of it. So I thank Glenn Nixon because he lends his talent, and all the other people and the staff members that make it happen. It just makes my heart smile to see these children excelling, because you never know where they're going to end up. It might be Broadway. Thanks.
Mr. Bond, we have two trustees that'd like to make comments. Dr. Sims?
Yes, thank you, President Jackson. I would just like to make you all aware of the fact that you are invited to Van Zandt Gwyn, a beautiful school in District 4, next year in the year after. So thank you very much.
And next year's year 10, so I imagine you've got something up your sleeve there, Dr. Sims?
Well, we'll try to make it special.
I think it'll be great. Dr. Sutherland?
Thank you, President Jackson. Along with the awards of the kids that won national awards, I'd like to point out and give accolades to a woman who was heavily involved in the South Hills High School Future Business Leaders of America. Her name is Salita Thomas. And in addition to all the other work she did this year, she was one of the 5 teachers of the year, public school teachers of the year, accoladed by Fort Worth Magazine, which if you read, you learn things every once in a while. If she's here, can she stand up?
Thank you. Mr. Bond?
Lastly, this evening, although we have already done so on several of our district communication channels, we'll introduce our new principals. Would you please stand as I call your name? Alberto Herrera from Sam Rosen Elementary School, to Sam Rosen Elementary from a previous position at Dallas ISD. LaTanya Ordaz to Bill J. Elliott Elementary School from assistant principal at T.A. Sims Elementary. Roberto Baeta Gutierrez to Waverly Park Elementary from assistant principal North Highmount. Sharon Schultze to Hazel Harvey Peace Elementary from assistant principal Carter Park Elementary. Suzelle Burkmeyer to Meadowbrook Elementary from assistant principal Meadowbrook Elementary. Terry Guthrie to Boulevard Heights from assistant principal at Boulevard Heights. Misty Rutherman to Morningside Elementary from a previous position at Dallas ISD. Crystal Jody Adair to principal at Harleen Beale Elementary from assistant principal at Bonnie Bray. Ronita Carradine from principal at Harleen Beale Elementary to principal at Como Montessori. Emilia Cortez Rangel from assistant principal at Rufino Mendoza to principal at Alice Contreras Elementary. And our new secondary principals, Oscar Adams, moving from principal of Rosemont Middle School to principal of Paul Lawrence Dunbar High School. Reginald Terrell, the interim principal at J. Martin Jacquet Middle School, is now assigned as principal at Handley Middle School. And Miguel de Toro moves from assistant principal at Pascal High School to principal at Rosemont Middle School. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would give one more round of congratulations to these new campus leaders.
Thank you, Mr. Bond. This concludes our scheduled recognitions. We will take a short recess of about 5 minutes so our guests can depart if you so choose. Oh, Ms. Moss, I'm sorry. How is it I never see you on the screen? Trustee Christine Moss. Hold up 1 second. Ms. Moss has,
That's okay, they are getting ready to go.
so I'll get you, sorry, I didn't see it. It's about 4 times. We're moving on to item 4 on the agenda, action agenda items. Approve the naming of the 8th grade wing after Jorge Mendoza at Kirkpatrick Middle School. Trustee Moss will present the motion.
Thank you, President Jackson. I move to approve naming the 8th grade wing after George Mendoza at Kilpatrick Middle School.
Moved by trustee Moss, second. Dr. Sims on the second. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, please move to voting. And the motion passes with 7 yeas and 1 abstain from trustee Ramos. Moving on to 4B, approve the naming of the auditorium after Leo Vaughns at Kirkpatrick Middle School. Trustee Ramos.
I do. I'd like to amend the motion to read as follows: to approve the waiver of policy CW local new facilities to allow for a one-time naming of a facility and approve naming the auditorium after Mr. Leo Vaughns at Kirkpatrick Middle School.
Moved by trustee Ramos, second. Seconded by trustee Paz. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, please move to voting. And the motion passes unanimously.
President Jackson, if I may, I'd like to offer the opportunity in order the way the action items were presented, and for the record, abstaining for Mr. Jorge Mendoza, as he is my father-in-law. I'm a proud son-in-law to the man of many years of service. So if Mr. Mendoza, if you wouldn't mind, or if you feel comfortable enough to come and take the microphone and recognize people that have joined you here today, and give you an opportunity to say some words if you'd like.
Thank you. Is it on? Yeah. Thank you very much for that. I was at Kirkpatrick Middle School for 23 years, so fantastic time. The young principals, you have a ways to go, though. I do want to include some of my wife, Rosalinda, up there. My daughters, Melanie, down here, if you'll raise your hand. Yeah. Anita, behind the post there, okay. Grandsons, looking at Danny, Sammy, Marcus, Marky. My brothers, sisters over here, Ralph, Becky, Rufino, Melinda, Eddie, my sister-in-law, Leslie. Oh, and I forgot my little, step-grandson, Aaron. So I hope I haven't left anyone out. Sarah, Fran. Okay, but thank you very much.
You're welcome. I'd like to offer the same opportunity to Mr. Leo Vaughn, and I also want to thank the Kirkpatrick Alumni Association for bringing this to Dr. Scribner and I. Appreciate your commitment to supporting the Kirkpatrick and the community, and recognizing these two individuals. Mr. Vaughn?
I'd like to say, first of all, thank you to the board members. This is my 28th, going on 29th year at Kirkpatrick Middle School, and I am still in love with my school. With us today, I have my mom, if you will stand please. We have the Fellowship Baptist Church family members, stand. Y'all stand. Kirkpatrick Alumni Association, stand. We have former students from back then, stand. We have the Kirkpatrick Middle School staff stands according to the principal. Former students stand. The young people over there stand, everybody. Former workers at Kirkpatrick stand. So we have a lot of Wildcats in the house. But once again, I'd like to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. With greatest love, I thank you guys.
All right. And then not to step on your toes, President Jackson, but I'll state you are free to leave at any time you want, since we won't go be going on a break, and we'll just continue about our agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ramos. Thank you all for being here tonight. We're going to move on to number 5, Lone Star Governance, College, Career, and Military Awareness. I'll hand it off to Dr. Scribner.
Thank you very much, President Jackson, members of the board, and Fort Worth School community. Last June, a little over a month ago, we presented to the board on our current status of our college, career, and military readiness programming, including programs of choice. Tonight, we're going to give you a picture as to where we're going. In June, we kind of gave you a status report of where we are. Tonight, we're going to discuss where we're going, and then next board meeting on the 21st, we want to share with you our plans on how we will get there. In November, please expect a presentation highlighting the changes that will continue our positive trajectory in our student achievement data, which we are very excited to share when it becomes public middle of this month. But with that, this is our second and third in a series of 3 presentations on college, career, military readiness. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to our Chief Academic Officer, Charlie Carroll.
Thank you, Dr. Scribner, President Jackson, members of the board. As you could tell from the recognitions this evening with CTE students, national recognitions all across the district, and I think some of what you're going to see in the presentation this evening, the programs that are within CTE in Fort Worth ISD are changing, improving, refining what we're doing on a daily basis. And the purpose of this report is to give you an idea of where we would like to go and give you an idea of the trajectory that we're going to follow to get there. So David Sines is going to be doing the report this evening, and he is the Executive Director of College, Career, and Military Readiness in Fort Worth ISD. And in his time in that position, we've made remarkable strides forward already, and he's going to tell you where we're going from here. So, David, go ahead.
In 1 second, unfortunately, the remote is not working, so I didn't make that much of a stride. You gonna click it? Okay, good. Thank you, sorry. Okay, so good evening, President Jackson and Dr. Scribner, members of the board, and the Fort Worth ISD community. I am back to continue the discussion of the progress that we are making in college, career, and military readiness programming. In June, I brought you some data about our programming. The information provided is promising, but in order to keep living up to our mission, we have to continue to push forward with necessary changes in order to provide our students with the best opportunities possible. My goal today is to describe the beginning of a system that would help us fulfill our mission and continue building on the good work already being done in our district. Our mission is our target. We have focused on the word all. However, success is also a key word in our mission. In the presentation today, I am going to focus on talking about the potential our system has to ensure that we do have a system that is focused on success in college, career, and community leadership for all of our students. The presentation given on June 12th provided information about our current system, as Dr. Scribner described. The presentation today will outline the beginnings of a new system, and my final presentation on the 21st will provide some concrete steps on how to move forward. So let's start with a few factors that we've talked about on several occasions, but we're going to go ahead and reiterate them because they're important to remember as we start planning and as we continue our progress. Before going in, as we move forward, we all know about the TE accountability system. We've talked about it here on several occasions. The state not only measures now our testing performance, but it also measures how our students are earning post-secondary readiness measures like certifications and dual credit and taking AP courses or enlisting in the military. We have described those on several occasions, so I just listed them off for you. Another factor is our job market. Every day you read or hear about the need for a more prepared workforce. You also hear about how the pathway to prosperity is not always through a four-year university. As an example, 2 large automotive dealerships in our city, Sewell and Park Place, approached us with opportunities to provide work-based learning experiences to our students. Both of these provide opportunities for jobs as technicians. Both have career pathways that start well above $45,000 out of high school with training provided by their organization. Both will reimburse college tuition if they wish to continue their education, and both have an average technician salary of over $65,000 before overtime. That sounds like a pretty good living. That is just one example of many opportunities available to our students with a community that is needing our students to be ready to fill those workforce needs. Several other companies like Bell, Lockheed, and American Airlines have also approached us about programming to support their needs, and I am sure that list will continue to grow as our program becomes more and more known. Another factor listed up there is funding. We know this is a finite resource, as we discussed on several occasions. We must be able to build the system within funds provided and with the support of our community. Here is where tough calls need to be made for the sake of providing equitable quality programming over quantity of programming. So, let me share the vision for an EC through 20 CCMR system. So why EC through 20? Well, as a city, our responsibility for creating a better future doesn't end with a high school diploma. This is a deeper commitment. A CCMR Continuum is a pathway to fulfill the promise we have made to our community with our mission statement. Our pathway is grounded in three major pillars, as you see up there in the presentation: awareness, exploration, and readiness. The goal here is for all three of these phases to be addressed during a student's time in Fort Worth ISD at various grades and in various ways. And why do we need this continuum? We often spend time talking about numbers. The numbers are debated, they're challenged, the numbers are sliced, they're diced. The journey today is going to ask you not to think about the numbers. I'm going to ask you to think about the faces. Specifically, I'm going to ask you to pick a student you may know, or think about them as I described in this continuum. You met several today, and a lot of the recognitions. And would they benefit if this system, once fully articulated, was in place? My student, I'm going to tell you about a young lady that I think about as I do this job and my role here, since my role in Fort Worth ISD has evolved. This young lady was someone I met as a director at O.D. Wyatt when I was a leadership director. It was the second to last day at Wyatt. On this day, I heard a young lady crying in the hallway and a counselor trying to comfort her. You see, she was crying because she wanted to stay at her campus. This young lady could describe what she wanted for her path, but she was lacking information about what truly is available at her campus and through other district programs that don't require her to leave her campus. We worked with the counselor and with several central office team members to make sure that this young lady knew that she didn't have to leave her school to be successful. Several opportunities already existed, we just hadn't communicated them well. We hadn't put a system in place to do that. Well, I'm happy to report that ever since then, during my time here and going to meetings at the PDC, I would see her walking around because she was taking advantage of some of those opportunities by going and taking our advanced courses that we offer A2I at PDC, and then going back to Wyatt. This year, this young lady graduated and is on her way to Texas A&M. The best news is she stayed at O.D. Wyatt for her entire high school career and didn't have to leave. That is the goal. So who are you going to picture as we walk through this vision? Keep them close, because this is why we're all here. So let's begin. And we'll start with EC through K, early childhood through kinder, pre-K through kinder, specifically universal pre-K. This was a key step taken by our district to impact college and career readiness. This lies outside the department, but is still a key component. The skills learned in pre-K will set up our students for success in the future. Our commitment to social emotional learning and literacy, combined with a strong research-based brain development activities, are a part of any strong CCMR continuum. As we move through this continuum, it is going to be crucial that we also have strong parent programming focused on providing information to our parents as much as we provide it to our students. At this particular level, I am talking about school entry readiness activities and the importance of facilitating literacy at home. This is all part of a continuum and not just an individual system. We have several initiatives that already address this area. In the awareness domain, we need to focus on having students play and pretend to be in some of the fields that are available to them. This is something we can do through cutouts, board games, virtual field trips, and other hands-on enrichment activities that bring the world to our students. It's never too early to present these opportunities to our kids. Moving on, in grades 1st through 5th, we have to ensure that our students continue developing as strong readers. The transition from learning to read to reading to learn is a key part of their future success after leaving high school. Our 100 by 25 initiative is a key part in this area. At this level, we will focus on adding to our strong literacy initiative by ensuring that our students are also exposed to a strong STEM curriculum in their core classes and supplemented by quality STEM enrichment programming at their school. Parent programming at this level will focus on learning about the different types of colleges and careers available to their students. The parent initiatives will continue as we move through the continuum and will be tailored to the age group for which it's being delivered. Specifically, a new support is going to be our Community Choices Expo. At this event, we will focus on all that our schools offer within their community pyramid. Once again, not having to leave their neighborhood to take advantage of our quality programs. At these events, information about all our offerings within grade levels will be shared through performances and information tables and seminars where our elementary students will come to our high schools and learn about everything from sports to choir to JROTC. We will also hold CCR 101 sessions to continue our parent education. Our CCMR awareness efforts at these grade levels will be built on creating a post-secondary awareness culture with our students. Many of our schools already do a great job in this area, as evidenced by the banners they hang or by having the graduates come down and do the walk through the hallways. And we want to continue supporting that system for our schools and also add in the career focus. We want our students to build an image of success for themselves so that school becomes a part of a journey and not just something you attend every day. This could also involve Avid Elementary, as an example. We're piloting Avid Elementary at Carter Park this coming school year. We'll be watching closely to see if this model can also support our journey. Moving on to 6 and 7, 6th through 8th. In these grade levels, we will begin to focus on exploration. We've gone through awareness. We've exposed our students to the various career fields and what it means to be college and career ready. Our students at this level will begin to focus a little bit deeper. Our students should leave 8th grade with an idea of what they want to do in high school to prepare for life after high school. We have designed a program that aligns our elective CTE offerings into a system of classes designed to provide students the necessary information to make informed choices while also learning critical life skills like communication and teamwork. Through all these courses, we will embed those critical skills. As another example, typing will be emphasized in the context of building presentations and writing sample college or scholarship essays. The system, and I'll briefly describe it, is as follows. In 6th grade, we want to expose them to computer literacy and computer exploration. This course is designed to operate in a digital world, or for students to operate in a digital world. Critical pieces such as typing, coding, digital citizenship will be explored. There will also be a key course in learning how to use one-to-one devices that we are committing to our schools. Students will also begin to focus on building their portfolio through a program called Zello. This program will help them keep track of their certificates, accomplishments, college applications, and will be able to help them when the time comes to apply for college or get a job. 7th grade explorations. One course will focus on exploring the various CTE programs at their home high school while also learning about our choice programming. The STEM exploration course will allow our students to learn about STEM through activities that will build their STEM skills and not just see STEM as a set of 4-letter subjects. In 8th grade, college and career readiness courses, in this first part of the course, they will learn about our advanced academic portfolio. They will understand how to advocate for themselves to be included in these courses and how to access this information and access these courses. The second part of the course is a project-based learning course to continue building on those critical life skills. A perfect example of this was the Leadership Academy at Forest Oak. Students in the CTE class identified a problem in the community. In this case, I believe it was stoplights or an issue with lights in their community. The students worked with the city to remedy the issue. They studied the issue and created a proposal and presented this to the city. We want to replicate those kind of authentic learning experiences for our students within this class. So in grades 9 through 12, the pathway here will focus on the skill development through CTE and advanced academics. Thankfully, our new learning model serves as a guide for embedding these needed critical skills into our core curriculum. We also want to provide targeted time to learn and practice these critical skills like resume writing and interview skills. This can be done through our CTE courses or an advisory program if the school has one. We have already created a partnership to embed financial literacy into the junior year CTE courses. We hope to expand that effort to all students. Work-based learning, as I mentioned through some of the examples earlier, through Sewell and Park Place, will also be a focus of this new pathway. The most important piece, however, is our advisement. Our counselors have a big job. Our goal is to arm every adult with the correct and up-to-date information to support the growth of our students. This is not only the counselor's job, this is all of our jobs. We just have to make sure that we do it in a systemic manner and with accurate information, so that tends to change. So this was just a brief sampling of what could be something truly transformational for our district. Some of it already exists, some of it will need to come into play, but really truly building it into a system and a promise to our parents. Maybe if we had articulated this system for the student I chose and described earlier, she wouldn't have been crying in the hallway or gone through the days and nights worrying about her path. However, most importantly, this was a student that already had an idea of what she wanted and therefore did worry and had a reason to fight. What about that student that doesn't know what their path could be and had already given up? This is why we need to continue the work, and it has to be completed. So you've got a brief example. So how do we get there? The good news is that we have several pieces in place, and we'll continue to get there with the help of the learning model, 100 by 25, and universal pre-K. One example I want to share is the work we've done in CTE. We created a core offering of CTE courses based on industry demands, student interest, and cost. These 4 courses here that also have licensure opportunities that can be used out of high school and a 4-year college pathway. The 4 that are listed here as an example, like business, which was brought some clarity to multiple pathways that used to exist. We still have the programs of marketing, finance, but we brought them into one pathway as a business and streamlined that to lead to certifications and lead to a more meaningful experience for our students. The other 3, as identified through data and through student choice and through our job market, were graphic design and AV, a very popular program within our district, and we had several winners today. Education, a very piece that's very near and dear to our hearts, and we know we always need good teachers. And of course, engineering. Our promise is that we will offer these particular programs at all high schools and have committed bond funds to ensure that these classrooms are industry standard. We also created a second level of offerings that are offered at limited sites but open to all students. Those are your lab size intensive programs like aviation and automotive, culinary, programs of that nature. So in order to do the work, we need to take a similar approach to and continue evaluating the system. I intend to do that using the 4 E's you see before you. This will help us create a true cost-benefit analysis of our programming in order to make decisions. And those 4 E's are equity, excellence, employability, and enrollment. That has to fulfill those things. Using this approach, we'll be able to evaluate programs based on access for all, achievement, attainment, and student choice. These measures then weighed against the cost of the program will help us streamline our programming. And this is a proposed timeline to complete the work as follows. During this review, everything is on the table. We must be able to keep programming and close down any programs that are not working to support those that are, or open and expand new ones that are more relevant to our current and future job market. So as you can see before, in August, we'll establish review teams. September, complete some of those reviews. In October, start exploring some options. And in November, prepare a recommendation to come before you once again. Some other items that need to be addressed as we continue this work is the refinement of GSPOC. The program is over 10 years old and needs to be reviewed. We look at expansion of programs that are working, such as PLTW, by rerouting resources from programs that are not working as much, into ones that are. Review our advanced course offering portfolio and teacher preparation for these programs. And the continued refinement of CTE programming to offer a strong portfolio based on the needs of Fort Worth and the surrounding areas. So this concludes my presentation today. I want to thank you, first of all, for your continued support. All of you either have called me or even shared resources or contacts to expand our program. And for that endless advocacy in the community, I thank you. And we are headed in the right direction, and I'm glad to be a part of this team. As I mentioned before in the presentation in June, this is both a professional and a personal venture for me. Our students deserve it, and our future demands it. And I'll pass it on to Mr. Carroll.
Mr. Steins, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have after the report.
We have one, Trustee Paz.
Thank you, and thank you for that thorough report. I have kind of a big picture question.
Sure.
So when it comes to our programming in our schools, there is an equity conversation to be had there. And where we have some schools that we're investing a lot of money in, there's an argument out there that, we should be investing that money in our neighborhood schools and providing opportunities within our neighborhood schools and not, I'm not saying I support this argument, or it's out there, and, I mean, I don't completely disagree. Will there be any effort made to provide some kind of option, some kind of choice within all of our neighborhood schools, to provide some kind of draw for them, so that they're not losing students to, not just, you know, I can give the example, you know, in my own neighborhood where you've got Daggett Montessori that, you know, all the kids from Days of Allah and Daggett Elementary want to go to Daggett Montessori, and they're leaving their neighborhood schools. You know, Days of Allah has now gotten a really great, and it's been successful in its short time, dual language program. And I know that Daggett Elementary, there have been some kind of loose talks about doing something there that maybe would feed into the middle school and past school. I don't know how serious those are, but, you know, is that something that we're looking at so that, because it's not only, we're not only losing students from those schools to Daggett Montessori, we're losing them to charter schools and Country Day and Trinity Valley. And, you know, where does that conversation fit into this plan?
It is a significant conversation. You're absolutely right. And as you know, I think you've been in this business for a while now. Organizations can take so much change at a time, and processes to bring about incremental change and put those pieces in motion and have a criteria to use so you can make good choices as we go through that is exactly what we're initiating. And so we're working through CTE, but there are also conversations, as you noted, being had in multilingual programs, being had in AAIL, being had in other departments as well, where we're establishing criteria, going back and looking at some structures. David referenced GSPOC earlier. It's an excellent example, something that was put in place 10 years ago that really does require relooking at equity, achievement, all of those areas, and how we can reconfigure to help our kids. So yes, absolutely.
I think that's it. Thank you for a great presentation, and thanks for the work.
Thank you.
At this time, we'll hear public comment. Let me remind you that because of restrictions by the Texas Open Meetings Act, board members may not engage in a verbal exchange about a subject that has not been posted. We will listen and take notes, but the board is prohibited from responding to any inquiries made during a board meeting on any topic not posted on the agenda. However, the board may reply with, 1, a statement of specific factual information given in response to the inquiry, 2, recitation of existing policy in response to the inquiry, or 3, direct the person to visit with staff about the issue. While the board listens to concerns of a general nature and issues of common and individual concern, the board will not hear complaints about specific individuals who are employees or public officers during the public comment session. Speakers shall refrain from mentioning names of individual employees or public officers during their comments. Any employee, parent, or other member of the public is asked to comply with the appropriate grievance policy to have a complaint heard pursuant to the applicable board policy. In accordance with Board Policy BED, local speakers shall have a 3-minute time limit, and we ask that you please observe this rule. Furthermore, a speaker may not relinquish his or her time to another speaker. Delegations of 5 or more persons shall appoint one person to present their views before the board. We have one speaker tonight, Sandra Garcia.
Good evening. My name is Sandra Garcia, and I live in Mr. Ramos's district, along with family in Ms. Boss's district. I'm here to speak on behalf of the Hispanic Women's Network, and I have a statement. So my name is Sandra Maria Garcia Rubio. I am the state representative for the fabulous Forward chapter of the Hispanic Women's Network, and I'm also the incoming chair. So today, I want to speak to you about our organization. It has a 32-year legacy of promoting the investment of women, particularly Latinas, but we're open to everyone. We've never rejected it, and we don't discriminate. And we have 9 chapters, if you don't already know that. And the Forward chapter currently is over 100 members strong. And also, we have a program called Latinas in Progress. It's over 10 years old. We currently just accepted our 100 high school Latinos throughout Tarrant County and some from out of the county. And our program starts in September at UTA. So I'm here to speak on behalf of our Board of Directors that are currently serve as the state rep for Fort Worth. I have a statement from our state chair, Annette Soto, who is unable to be here today. So esteemed Fort Worth ISD Board of Directors and Trustees, the HWNT is probably incredibly proud of our 30-year legacy of promoting the advancement of women through the state of Texas, and the strong work done by our chapter here in Fort Worth. Recognizing the strong need for mentorship, we ourselves have worked with hundreds of Fort Worth ISD Latina students throughout the 2 decades as we ventured through this critical life during their senior year at high school. Whew, sorry, I'm nervous. While doing this, we try our best to offer our own cultural similarities and lessons learned to benefit this generation of leaders. As Latinas, specifically in today's complicated political climate, we feel it is so important to provide encouragement and support to the students. We understand their heritage because we share the heritage. We understand their struggles because we have experienced their struggles. And we understand their fear of the unknown because we also have traversed uncharted territories for our families as well. It has been and will continue to be a pleasure to serve these young ladies to the best of our volunteer-driven activities. However, today, we would like to voice our support for another organization that will hopefully be welcomed as a resource for future generations. Con mi madre. As you already know, it is an organizational model that has proven successful in other schools in Texas. Our Austin chapter has had the pleasure of using their organizational model and working closely with them. Through the Austin collaborations, we can confidently
Can we please let her finish since she's the only one that we have?
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. Through the collaborations, we can confidently state that Con Mi Madre is a great model that can benefit Texas schools in any city. We are most impressed by the careful consideration and effort to involve mothers more closely in the success and development of their daughters. Although this differs from our own model, we feel this is an ingenuous and empowering approach that is unique and will benefit Fort Worth greatly. So we are here to stand and support along with our 100-plus members.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. At this time, we'll now recess and reconvene the board conference room. In accordance with the open meetings law, the board opened the meeting at 5:30 PM in the boardroom with a quorum present. We recessed to open session in the boardroom, and it is now reconvened at 6:38 PM in open session in our board conference room with a quorum present. As board president, I'm making the following statement in accordance with board policy BBFA local. This is a reminder to each board member of the legal conflict of interest requirements and disclosure requirements you may have for matters under consideration on this agenda for this meeting. If required by law, board members shall recuse themselves from all discussion and shall abstain from voting on any matter pertaining to such a disclosure. Are there any questions on consent agenda items? Ms. Paz? This is terrible.
I don't want to have it pulled, but I do have a question on BI. Approve a budget increase for bid package 061 Trimble Technical High School and Daggett Elementary School. So primarily, my question, do we have anyone to answer the question?
Is Vicky here? It'd be a great thing for her to be here.
So while she's coming, I will restate this. Well, I'll just wait for her to get here.
What's really cool is she's here.
That's it. Vicky, the item is I on Trimble Tech High School. I'm sorry, Ms. Potts.
Okay, thanks, Vicki. So today, I've gotten some correspondence from some of the football parents at Trimble Tech.
Yes.
About their field house is not done yet. It was supposed to be done in June or July, and it's not done yet. And they want to know why it's not done.
I got that
because-
same correspondence.
Yeah, so, and they're fair questions because, you know, most of the other high schools have been practicing already for, you know, a long time now. And they have, you know, there have been some unforeseen circumstances, but I'd just like a little bit of, I would just like to state on the record so that I can refer back to this for all of those people, what happened at Trimble Tech? Does that have anything to do with this
I have it.
item? Okay.
And actually, I talked to my construction manager and Donnie Pham this afternoon about that.
Okay.
Evidently, when the demo was going on the floor, the structure underneath the subfloor was not on the as-builts that we have in our plan room. And when they broke through that, there was some unexpected extra damage. And so we kept on demoing that until it turned into about a 2-month delay.
Okay.
And so we will have that field house finished by the end of this month.
Okay, great. And so by the end of the month, not by the time school starts, though?
No.
So for Dr. Scribner, what are we doing to accommodate those students who don't have the facilities to use?
The boys' football are in the locker rooms. In other words, it's not everything. The coaches' offices are still under construction, but the boys' football locker rooms are
Okay.
finished. It's
Okay.
the girls' locker rooms that are still under construction.
Okay. And so the girls are not practicing right now, it's not putting them out?
They have other accommodations.
Okay.
But I can find out exactly more detail on that. I don't know where where they've worked it out with the principal.
Okay.
But I know that they've been in constant contact because I've been checking with them over the last 2 weeks with Mr. Ramos.
Okay. And is it accurate that their air conditioning is not working in the field house?
They had some problems with it, but it's not like, it's not consistently off. It did go down, and I understand it's back up, but I can check on that.
Okay.
I'll be glad to do
That's
that
fine.
and copy Dr. Scribner.
If you send a memo to the board, that'd be great.
Sure,
I know
absolutely.
I know how air conditioning,
Well, we hate, we
happens,
hated that,
so.
but yeah, we've run into, on more than one project, some flooring, some sub-foundation problems in these older schools.
yep, I understand. Thank you.
Uh-huh. Anything else?
Any other questions or discussion? Seeing, hearing none, we're going to go into executive session at 6:40. In accordance with the open meetings law, the board opened the meeting at 5:30 PM in the boardroom with a quorum present. We recessed and reconvened open session in the board conference room. We adjourned regular session, convened executive session, adjourned executive session, and now reconvened open session at 6:59 PM in the boardroom with a quorum present. Do I have a motion accepting our consent agenda items? Moved by Dr. T.A. Sims. Seconded by Trustee Luébanos. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, please move to voting. And the motion passes unanimously. Moving on to action items. 14B, personnel. Do I have a motion?
President Jackson, I move to approve the executive director appointments as discussed in closed session.
Trustee Moss moves, seconded by Dr. T.A. Sims. Any discussion? Please move to voting. And the motion passes unanimously. Dr. Scribner?
Thank you very much, President Jackson, members of the board, and Fort Worth school community. We are very excited to appoint three individuals who are dynamic leaders. First, Ms. Susan Hernandez, who will be taking on the role of Executive Director of Office of Innovation. Let's give her a round of applause. Ms. Hernandez comes to us from a district east of us, Dallas ISD. She'll be joining the Office of Innovation under leadership of Sajade Miller and Karen Molinar. She has both elementary and secondary experience as a principal and central office administrator, and she will support secondary campuses that fall under the Office of Innovation. We welcome you aboard. Thank you. Perhaps you could introduce some of your guests.
First off, I'd like to introduce Dr. Joanne Hughes. Dr. Hughes was my first mentor when I became an administrator, and she continues to support me, and also my fabulous husband, Juan Hernandez.
All right. Thank you. Welcome aboard. The board also approved the Executive Director of Federal Programs, Mirjit Crespo. Mirjit is a 9-year employee here in Fort Worth ISD overseeing federal programs, the financial and programmatic oversight of federal program grants totaling over $56 million. She is very well respected in our organization, and given our increasing title dollars, we think it appropriate to appoint her to this position, and congratulations. If you'd like to say a few words.
Thank you, Dr. Scribner. Thank you, board. This is an honor, and it's very important for me to keep working for Fort Worth ISD, my principals, and my kids. And that's how I see it, and that's what I do.
Wonderful. Thank you. Congratulations.
With me, my husband, and my boss.
All right. Congratulations. And finally, a new position, Executive Director in the Excellence in Equity and Excellence Division, Ms. Mia Hall. She will be supervising. In this new role, she will be taking over supervisory responsibility of the Office of Adult Education, East Side Alliance Community Partnership, and the newly established Southeast Community Outreach Center, which was formerly the Historic Stop 6 Initiative. We're very excited that Ms. Hall will be taking this new responsibility, and would like her to say a few words.
Well, thank you to the board and Dr. Scribner for this honor and this vote of confidence. I look forward to the work ahead and the successes ahead as well, and working with Mrs. Breed in this capacity. And with me, I've got quite an entourage. It's still a privilege to make your mother proud, even at this age. My mother, Lynn Lewis, who also is a Fort Worth ISD employee. Ms. Janice Dilworth, who was my first director as an administrator and continues to be my mentor. My BFF, Officer Tucker, Susan Roten, my Alta BFF here at Fort Worth ISD employee, my aunt Doris, and our dear family friend, Miss Marguerite. So, thank you.
Trustee Moss.
Thank you, President Jackson. I know Ms. Hall introduced Ms. Dilworth, but Janice Dilworth, would you please stand? Ms. Dilworth is a retired, successful, dynamic, long-time at Fort Worth ISD administrator, and she was very successful and worked to better all of our students in Fort Worth ISD, and we just want to say thank you for all of those years.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Moss. It was my great pleasure and honor.
Thank you. There's no further personnel action needed this evening. Thank you. Therefore, items 15A and B will be removed from the agenda. We'll now move on to 15C, nomination of representative to serve on the Texas Association of School Boards TASB Board of Directors. Trustee Moss, do you have a motion?
Yes, I move to the nomination of representatives to serve on the Texas Association of School Boards TASB Board of Directors, Charles Hogg from Arlington ISD.
Moved by Trustee Moss, seconded by Trustee Ramos. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, please move to voting. And the motion passes unanimously. 15D, approve waiver to Board Policy EHBG Local Special Programs Pre-Kindergarten. Do I have a motion? Moved by Trustee Moss, seconded by Trustee Ramos. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, please move to voting. And the motion passes unanimously. 15E, approve the naming of I.M. Terrell Academy for STEM and VPA. Do I have a motion? Moved by Dr. T.A. Sims, seconded by Trustee Luébanos. Any discussion? I have a moment of discussion. I was at I.M. Terrell today for 3 hours for their first day of camp. I was trying to just go for a moment and leave, but I stayed for 3 hours. I was mesmerized. That is an amazing school. The energy's there when nobody's in it, but with 170 kids today and the faculty, it was amazing. The place is world-class. You guys all have to go. Move to voting, please. And the motion passes unanimously. 15F, approve the letter of intent to establish a partnership between Fort Worth ISD and Tarrant County College District to construct a new Young Men's Leadership Academy. I have a motion from Trustee Moss, second from Trustee Ramos. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, let's move to voting. And the motion passes unanimously. We are at 16 comments by board members. Any comments by board members this evening? Trustee Ramos?
Thank you, President Jackson. One is the grateful for the support of the board with the Con Mi Madre programming that's coming to Fort Worth ISD. There's a lot of excitement about what that's going to entail. The other one is recognizing and thanking MACE, and I know my colleague Trustee Luébanos has been very involved with the MACE scholarship, and it's a point of privilege too. I mean, just because two of my sons now are MACE scholars, so it's a little more personal, but it's really good to see the continued support of the district of a very worthy scholarship that also includes recipients such as former Councilman Salvador Espino and Justice of the Peace Sergio de Leon. So thank you, Fort Worth ISD, for all the support you're giving MACE. I look forward to some more.
And on that good news, we're adjourned.